In Torah, numbers are very significant and we learn a lot from them. And because it's Parashat Shemini, I want to talk about the number 8 because the number 8 contains within it an extremely deep and interesting, massive secret about what it really means to go beyond nature. Famously, we learn from the Midrash that the harp, the kinnor, and the Beit HaMikdash had 6 strings, but when the Mashiach comes, there's going to be 8 strings. And what this means is that when the Mashiach comes, and not necessarily immediately, by the way, as per the Rambam, but at some point after the Mashiach comes, the nature of the world itself will transform. How exactly will it transform? Well, our first clue is that music will change. There will be 2 more notes, or 1 more note, however you want to look at the sources and explain that. But anyway, there's going to be at least 1 more note, the 8th note. Right now we have 7 notes in a scale. There are 12 semitones, and a scale is made up of 7 notes. Correct me if I'm wrong, musicians, but something like that. And at some point there's going to be 8. And that doesn't mean that we're going to squeeze the current range of notes into a narrower scale to fit in 1 more, like adding in 2 more semitones or something. What I mean is that the fundamental nature of music will change. So this is very hard to imagine, so I'm going to explain it like this. Let's get a bit philosophical. I want to start with a thought experiment, okay? 2 great scientists, flawless thinkers and reasoners, get together for a coffee. Einstein and Newton, let's say. But Einstein is colorblind. He's never, ever seen the color red. Whenever he looks at red things, they just look gray to him. He decides that he's missing out. He really wants to know what red looks like. So he asks Newton to explain it to him so he can know. Newton gets out his pen and he starts writing down all sorts of very complicated equations, physics and maths. And Einstein reads them and he understands them, but he still doesn't know what the experience of looking at something red is like. He knows more about the physics of the wavelength of red, let's say, but he still hasn't seen it. He still doesn't know what it looks like, right? So Newton turns his hand to prose and poetry, writing the most exquisite treatise on the color red. Einstein reads it and he's moved to tears, but he still has no idea what red actually looks like, truly. At this point, they realize something. Nothing's going to work. The color red is what's called a qualia. And according to the knowledge argument in philosophy, there is no physical or material way to convey the color red. It has to be seen to experience, right? No amount of equations, maths, or poetry can really capture the color red in the sense of what it looks like to the eye, to the brain, in our conscious experience, in its true essence. Physics, as I said, it can describe the wavelength of red and how atoms and molecules in the eye break down and send signals to the brain. Maths can analyze how neural networks work, right? We've created AI. Poetry can associate red with other qualia such as anger and passion. But none of that helps Einstein see red, even in his mind's eye. Qualia are conscious experiences. They exist in some plane that is beyond the world as we know it. Some people even view this, including myself, by the way, as proof of at least spirituality, but if you really think about it, as proof of God as well, as I'm about to explain. Either way, there's no way to actually describe qualia, such as pleasure and pain, emotion, the experience of intellectual insight, desire, color, and all the sensations. Why? Because these things are original, right? They are foundational. Unlike everything in the material world, which are built up from smaller pieces, from logical structure, whatever you want to call it, these are not built up from smaller pieces or smaller logical structures or arguments of any kind. They are just what they are, sitting on the cusp of nothingness, as it were. That's not to say that they do not follow logic. Color theory teaches us how to mix colors to make new combinations, and there's a whole science to the psychology of our emotions and our intellect to help us regulate them better and our mental states. As you know, there is logic to qualia once they are there, but nonetheless, this logic comes after the fact of them being there. Now that we have some colors, there is a logic about them. But behind it all, there is no logic. God plucked them from nowhere because of his omnipotence. It's truly magnificent. He can do anything. And now we understand what anything really means. Truly remarkable, right? When we say that he can do anything, most of us think that it just means within the realm of logic, something that we can fathom, such as he can tell you how many atoms there are in the universe because he knows everything, or he can create galaxies, new galaxies, or he can stop time. He can do anything, right? No, that's not what anything means. That is not the limit of Ein Sof. Ein Sof means that there is no limit, not at all. He can invent new colors from nothing at all, not from logic, from nowhere. He can create emotions where there were none. Literally invent emotions, right? You think that red was always there, waiting for him to actualize it, like maybe numbers. We think numbers are like that. He just had to make something that had number in it. No, Qualia for sure proves that Hashem creates everything, including information, that where there was none at all, right? Think about it. Just like there are literally no other colors other than the ones that you've seen. Red, blue, yellow, and all their combinations. They weren't even those until he created them. It's similar to the fact that you can't imagine any color that's never been seen before, a new one. You literally can't, because he hasn't created it, as far as we know, right? So therefore, right now, this hypothetical color is literally nothing. Not even in potential, not even in some kind of logical construct. It's just nothing. It doesn't exist. That's what Ein Od Milvado really means. Fundamentally, if you get right down to it, even the material is Qualia too. There has been a grand simsim from the spiritual to the physical, grander than any other simsumim in the higher worlds, in the higher heavens. But ultimately, this physical world is just like everything else, a qualia. It's resting on the cusp of nothingness. All the complexity and graspability about it that you can see is just after the fact, just like color theory is. So yeah, in this physical world, we may think that it makes logical sense to us, and our scientists have got extremely good at describing it, right? But ultimately, as I said, it's just the same as color theory. Now, we know how to mix colors very well. We know how to mix atoms very well. But we don't know where all of this comes from and how it can just exist, sitting on the edge of nowhere. When you get right down to the most fundamental, Hashem plucked it out of nowhere. And by the way, this is also why we'll never be able to create consciousness in AI. Everybody's worried that we are going to create a new life form from AI, but according to this theory and according to Kabbalah, consciousness is not something that can be created. It sits on nothing. It's not going to just emerge from numbers. Okay? This is all revealed in our sources. Hashem created Ten Sefirot Bli Mah, it says in Sefirot, which means without substance. Now, the gematria of Bli Mah is one more than Hashem's name, and the name he uses for his mastery over nature, right? Elokim. So that means that the Sefirot are quite literally resting on the edge of nothingness, i.e. the world where there was nothing but him. It's the first step away from that. They are as ethereal and as intangible and as qualia as can be. And they are the root of all creation, all created reality. And that is the study of Kabbalah and Chassidut. Baruch Hashem, He's revealed so much of it to us through the Arizal and the Baal Shem Tov, and many of our great Rabbanim have made it their business to explain it to us. It helps us connect to Hashem and to our own souls, which are indeed made from these 10 Sefirot, okay? So how they interrelate and work is a deep, advanced, but very rewarding and beautiful study that everybody's welcome to participate in. It makes psychology, for example, look like child's play. Not to knock psychology, it's done a lot of good for the world. It's also done a lot of bad for the world. But whatever, back to the topic at hand. We learn that in the future, the nature of reality will change. Right now, in the world that we see with our eyes and experience with our minds, the created physical world, right? Only 7 of the Sefirot are brought down into created reality. Hashem's Middot. It is through these supernal emotive attributes that he creates all of physicality and the spirituality that we have access to. He is one, but this seven, right? These seven emotive attributes branch from his malchut of Atzilut and descend into time. That is where the 6 days, 7 days of creation come in. And those 7 days, as we know, correspond to 1,000 years each. So it further divides. That is how it works. It's like an upside down tree of time where everything starts as one, where there is no time, or there's the totality of time, and it splits into 7,000 years of Olam Hazeh. Okay? Now, his intellectual attributes and his supernal desire are beyond our reach and understanding right now. Otherwise, we'd see him, we'd know him, right? But eventually, they will be revealed too. Olam HaBa is indeed our experience of his Bina, where the light of his Or Ein Sof is going to shine in a way that we can fathom and comprehend, because that is what Bina is. The left brain grasps and understands tangibly the world. Hashem is going to shine his light into our Bina, so his Bina is going to be our Olam HaBa, where we actually experience him. We enjoy the radiance of the Shekhinah as we sit with our crowns on our heads, as it says in the sources. Bina is the 8th Sefirah, and time at that point will indeed become infinite and eternal. And all of his hidden delights, currently beyond our realm of imagination, literally will be available to us. Then music, for example, will have 8 notes. And just like we can't comprehend a new color, so too we can't imagine a new note. And how beautiful the music is going to be then. The music that will carry us up to the infinite, and as such, the infinite will draw down to us too. What is infinite? Hashem's desire for us. This entire system is a system to create a relationship for that higher form of love, a love that transcends even the Sefirot. We are bound to him, and he is bound to us at the very level of essence, beyond all the Sefirot, and thus the 10 Sefirot were created with that behind it. That's what's really behind it. One day, instead of this being a lofty, transcendent theory, we will experience this unity and desire and Hashem in a tangible reality, and this will be Olam HaBa, the world to come. It will be the pleasure of closeness and intimacy, the greatness of all pleasures, and it will be holy, it will be good, and it will be selfless. It will have been by us earning through our coming down into this world of 7, going through trials and tribulations, and doing mitzvot for Hashem. And therefore, when we understand how much this pleased Hashem, when his pleasure will be revealed to us, especially the pleasure he has in us, that will truly be the greatest good that he can give, the good of having given to him. Shabbat Shalom.